Step number 107, starting to build the shocks. Go ahead and open up your bag that has the front shocks part in it, which is bag L, and get everything laid out. One thing that you are going to want to do is make sure that you completely disassemble everything that's in the bag, including taking the rings off the shock, including taking the bottoms out, and make sure that everything is completely separated. I'm going to spend just a tad bit of time here going over the parts. And there are quite a few, but it's just procedural, and we're just going to put everything together. It's very simple, but we want to make sure that you do get the right parts. And I find it helpful, if you're not used to building shocks, to get everything laid out. And it's going to save you a little bit of time and confusion if you do that. We have the bottom caps laid out. Then we have the large copper bushings, and then the large clips. Each shock is going to have two of the clear rubber seals or silicone, two of the smaller copper units, two of the smaller clips, and then two orange seals. Then let's move over to the shafts. You're going to have a boot, a shock shaft with an end. You are going to have pistons, and we are using the 2-hole pistons. You can see here, if we can get it focused in, come on, that these have 2 holes in them. Now, you also get an additional set for tuning of the 3-hole units. However, we are going to use the 2-hole units as per the directions in this part of the build. Later on, if you want to do a little research, you can change to a 3-hole if you choose. After that, we're going to have a wiper, which is a plastic ring, one of the small metal washers, an aluminum spacer, a washer, and a nut. And then we cannot forget our ball end for the shaft. Let's get started, and I'm going to recommend that you double check your bag to make sure you open the proper bag, and these are for the front shocks. We're going to build the front shocks on video, and then we're going to let you also build your rear shocks. With one exception, they build exactly the same, and we'll go over that exception on installing the springs, which are different on the rear shocks. So let's get started here, and it's very, very, very straightforward. Let's grab one of our caps, and there's a top and a bottom. The bottom portion has the little area there for you to grab on with your wrench, and the top has a large hole in it. We're going to start building the cap from the top. So let's set that down on our bench, and we're going to take our large copper bushing and drop it down inside. And it should slip down in. Need you to notice that there is a ring around the inside, a groove. Come on. Around the inside, just above the bushing. So right on the inside, and that's where our clip is going to go. Clips can be fun. You're either going to get it or you're not, and it has nothing to do with ability. And the clip has a little flat end on it, and then it comes around. And we're going to put that clip down inside the groove. Sometimes you can get it with just your fingers, sometimes not. How I like to do it to start off is to go ahead and seat the flat, or I'm sorry, not the flat portion, but the rounded portion right here. I like to seat that down inside the groove. and then hold it with one finger, and then just use the pressure of my thumb to go around, and a lot of times it'll click right in. And sometimes it won't. These are always fun, and of course on video it's not going to react the way I want it to. Okay, it doesn't seem to want to go in with just using my fingers. I think my fingers are soft. So I'm going to do the same thing, except for I'm going to use a pair of needle nose pliers, and I'm going to grab the flat portion and pull it in and see if that's going to work. If not, there is another way to do it too. And I'm sorry that you can't really see on video while I'm doing this. This is one of the toughest parts about building the shocks. I'm going to try this one more time with just my fingers, because usually I can get them. I don't know what the problem is today. Just not wanting to go in. So we're going to have to use a pair of pliers and see if that helps us. And again, I'm sorry that the video can't pick this up, but there's not really any good way of filming it. Boy, that little sucker just does not want to pop in there. Let's try the other one and see if we have any better luck with that one. Again, we're going to slide the bushing in, take our C-clip, start one end into the little groove, work it around with our thumb. Boy, we're just having all sorts of luck. There we go. It actually went in that time. Whoop, no, it didn't. Pop back out. This is always fun. So we're going to start one end, hold it, work it around. It's trying to go. Let's use a little bit of a tool here to press it down in. There we go. Not quite in yet. It's still sticking up a little, and we want to make sure it pops down into that groove. There we go. I'm going to run this around, and you can see how that popped down into the groove there. If it's sticking up and out of the groove, you want to make sure that you do get it popped in. Once it's in, I usually like to take a tool and just kind of go around the edge just to make sure that it is slid all the way in. Let's try this again on this one and see if we can get it in. This time I'm going to start with the flat end engaged down in the groove and push on it with my thumb. There we go. Whoop, it almost went in. You get a feel for it after a while. But again, I'm going to insert one end and push on the other end until it pops in. There we go. That one went down in. You can see it there. You can see it's not quite in all the way right here. So I'm going to use a Allen wrench. And I'm going to push down on it and then go around and make sure that it is fully seated. Okay. Again, I'm going to show this to you because it is important that they are fully seated. All right, now that that one's done, we're going to build two of them at the same time. You can grab some shock oil, or you can use our wonderful green slime, and we're going to lube up all the gaskets. It really doesn't take a bunch. It's probably too much there. Rub it into our fingers. Go ahead and coat our gaskets with it, or our little rubber O-rings and silicone O-rings. Just get them lubed up. I like to do them all at once so I can wipe my fingers and be done with it. Okay. As long as we have the orange gaskets in our hand. Let's go ahead and insert them. And they're going to go around the shaft and into this groove right here towards the bottom of the shaft. We do want to be careful that we don't cut them running them over the threads. So you do want to be fairly careful putting them on. Roll them down, make sure they're not twisted, and I use my fingernail to make sure that it is seated into the little groove. We'll repeat the process on the second one. And again, make sure it is fully seated. All right, now we're going to work on the smaller hole on the bottom of the cap. Let's take one of our clear little rubber seals, shock seals, and insert it down into the hole. Take a second one and insert it down into the hole. If you would like, you can use a Allen wrench and tamp it down so that they sit flush inside. You can see the two seals, one on top of each other, sitting down in the hole. We'll repeat the process on the other side. So they're sitting down in there. Now we're going to take our smaller copper bushing and we're going to lay it down inside the hole. Make sure that you don't get it cocked sideways, otherwise it won't slip in. It's a fairly tight fit, and we're going to work that down into the hole. Looks like I got a little bit cocked in there. There we go. Just laid it down flat on my workbench and it went in straight. And we're going to push that down until it's below the groove. Again, we're going to use a clip, so you need to push it in so that that one is laying below the groove so we can get that clip on. If it doesn't go fully down, take a look at your seals inside and make sure they're not holding it from going all the way down. If it is, pull out the bushing and make sure your seals are in the proper position. Okay, we're going to insert the second one here. They do have to go in straight. Push down below the little groove. Now comes the fun part. We get to put on the little clips. You thought the big clips were fun. The little ones are even more fun. But again, I can usually get them in just like that. That one went right down into place. You can see that it's clipped all the way around. Make sure you inspect it closely, that it's not only partially in, but it's all the way in. Let's see if we have the same luck with this one. Yeah, there we go. Boy, those are behaving well. Just got that one in, and again you can see it is completely seated down. That's the most difficult part of building the shocks, is getting those darn clips on. Alright, our bottom caps are now done. We have our seals, we have the big bushings, the two big clips, two silicone shock gaskets in each one, as well as two small bushings and two small clips, and the outside orange seal.